Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a bit of a subscriber craft retrofit. Now, before we get too far into this video, I just want to say this is not meant to be overly critical. Basically, there were a couple of things that were done in this craft that were kind of driving me nuts that I knew about. They weren't all mistakes, like plug and play AI cards. They're not a mistake, but it drove me crazy because I wanted to tweak the AI a little bit as it was fighting. So what I suggest is changes. Ultimately, this thing is substantially more expensive than this thing, so it's hard to say which one is actually better. Point is, this is not meant to be an overly critical video. This is meant to be a fun retrofit. Moving on, this is a subscriber craft that was submitted for my campaign series. If you're new to my channel, I do an Ashes of the Empire campaign, and a subscriber named Lycrath submitted this design. This is a lime. Now, so what about this did I really want to change? Well, first off, the lime itself was using these prefab engines, these Outback Family Pro prefab engines stuffed into the engine nacelles wherever they fit. Now, the one thing about the Outback Family Pro engine is it has no exhaust, it has no cylinder, it easily overheats, and it's kind of inefficient. So the fuel engine generator costs 20 per, and the cylinder costs 15. So this engine is 35 for just one completely unupgraded cylinder. All in all, I think the default version of the Lime had around about 1100 power, and that was when the engines weren't overheated. So the original Lime would run into an issue where every once in a while, all of the engines could overheat at the same time, and this could cause it to lose control of itself. It normally regained control of its life before crashing, but on uneven terrain, like very uneven terrain, such as these mountains, for example, it would definitely struggle. So after noticing this, I decided to change it up a little bit from this to just a slightly more carbureted engine. I'll go ahead and show you what I have in here. So it's just an engine generator with the crankshafts, pretty standard Tetris carburetors shoved wherever I could fit them, and superchargers shoved in wherever they could fit as well. All of this is, of course, attached to some radiators, which are protected by ERA. This means that the engines on the Lemon never overheat and produce a consistent 3,150-ish power. I know it says 3,250, but as these bad boys heat up, they lose a little bit of juice. So it's about 3,100. After changing up the engines, I did end up find myself with this couple thousand excess power. So you may have noticed that there are shields on the Lemon, just an added layer of defense to the Lemon since it had the spare power. And the other thing that I ended up changing was the AI. I don't generally use the hovercraft AI ever. What I use instead is going to be a collection of PIDs. Now, this comes down to personal preference. Really, how the craft moves is going to be heavily influenced by how you set it up to control itself. And I personally have a lot more experience with this. So, given that I was changing how it moved, I just went with what I'm familiar with. This is not necessarily better, it's just what I know how to make work. So, I've got PIDs in there. And I told the Lemon that it was a tank. Okay, you're not a hovercraft, you're a tank. Get over it. So yeah, we mentioned the shields. They're strength 8. They turn off when there's no enemies nearby. That's why we've got this little python loaded in over here. But other than that, we've added a couple more defenses. So you may have noticed these munition warners. We've got some distraction sticks. If you are an FTD veteran, you may recognize these. It's just a harpoon, a regulator, and a whole bunch of flares attached to a missile launcher with a winch. Basically, when we detect missiles, we're going to fire off one of these flares, and they're going to drag along behind our craft, and they're going to attract all the missiles to it. So hopefully between the flares and the shields, this thing can redirect a whole bunch of incoming damage, and hopefully it's much more survivable. What else have we done? Well, we ended up changing the old setup of all the missiles. So if we take a look inside the Lime, so you can see what's going on here. We got the large launcher, and then underneath the large launcher, we have IFF, all-in-one weapon controller, and a missile controller, and then a random connector. What I ended up doing on the Lemon is taking out part of the armor and shoving in a wireless receiver. Now, the purpose of this is as follows. I have a regular local weapon controller saving some material, and then one missile controller, one IFF, a staggered fire, and a transmitter, all inside the craft. Not anywhere near the missile system, and then there's just some receivers strapped onto it. This has allowed me to make the large missiles and the medium missiles all one length longer. So these missiles are larger, and same thing with these side missiles. I took out all of those initial components, placed it with a surge protector and a wireless missile receiver, and added one length to the missile. So this thing does have more firepower. That's where the majority of the cost of this thing has gone. In the straight up cost comparison, the lime over here is at $41.50, and the lemon over here is at $52,700. I would consider this a high performance variant of roughly the same craft. I would rather have 2 limes than 1 lemon. That's a weird sentence I never thought I'd say. I'd rather have 2 limes than a lemon, but if I only got 1 craft, I would take the lemon. I want to thank Mr. Lycrates for submitting this craft to use, because I rely on camo to make most of my vehicles look good, and this thing does not. This thing is just shaped very well, and that's always something that I've struggled with. So getting to fiddle around with a design that's shaped well gave me some ideas on how I could do that. Now, I will be uploading this to my Steam Workshop, and then including a link in the description of the video. I'll also be posting that on my Discord as soon as it's available. Anyway, I've been Zacargo. This has been a lot of fun, and if you like this video, please consider leaving a like and a comment, maybe sharing it, maybe subscribing to the channel. I actually found out pretty recently that if you press the share button and you copy the link, YouTube thinks you shared it, and the video will get advertised more to other people, and that helps the channel grow quite a lot. So yeah, you don't have to link your whatever. You could just press the share button and copy the link if you're looking for a way to support the channel. If you're new to my channel, I'm Zacargo. I upload new FTD stuff pretty much every week. Right now it's looking like 1 campaign episode and some random build videos and some other stuff. I've got some Mountain Blade on the channel. Feel free to come check it out. For now, this has been fun. I've been Zacargo, and I'll see y'all next time with more From the Depths.